I think it would be important for me to say, Nicholas, I'm not sure if you agree or not, because I might sound a little bit mush-mouthed on the program today. I've just had an extraction, so I might sound a little weird. I should probably let you read these reports instead of me. Morgan Stanley, it says here, Sawyer Merritt is reporting this. Morgan Stanley just lowered their Tesla price target to 320 from 345. He says, we believe Tesla has significant attributes to be valued as an AI beneficiary, but the company must see a stabilization in the negative earnings revisions in the auto business first. We do not believe that Tesla will get credit as an AI company as long as the core auto businesses are being revised down. This process may take a few more quarters to see through, over which time our 100 bear case may be in play. Our $100 bear case may be in play. Our thesis on Tesla is that it's both an auto stock and an energy / AI robotics company. In fact, our valuation of the core auto business is $68 a share. That just represents 21% of our new $320 price target. Negative developments in the global EV market very much matter to Tesla and should be reasonably have a negative near-term impact on the price of the stock. At the same time, however, we believe investors should not ignore the continued developments of Tesla's other plays, many of which are auto-related, like the recurring revenue from the Tesla fleet, which is embedded in our Tesla network services valuation, and other areas that we do not include within our 320 target, but the market might include, like Optimus, which we expect to learn much more about during 2024's Tesla's AI Day, date to be determined. All right, that's a lot. I thought that the first part up there where they're talking about that the AI part of the story won't be realized by the street until the underlying auto business is straightened out was odd.
Yeah, it's odd because is Adam Jonas not the street?
Yeah, right.
And is he not valuing some of it right now in his predictions? So it's kind of speaking at both sides of the mouth. But I get what he's saying. He's talking. Yeah, I'm being kind of a smart ass here. So I think we all get what he's trying to say. He's saying, in general, the masses won't appreciate Tesla in that way. And I I can agree there's aspects, right? So if you're talking about FSD specifically, maybe if you assume, if you assume that Tesla needs to continue selling vehicles to keep capturing data so they can train, so they can get to autonomy, sure. However, let's assume they don't need to continue increasing the size that much of the fleet, and they essentially have enough data coming in. They just need more compute to be able to train it quicker and faster and iterate, at a faster clip. Well, then you don't really need the margins to go up or the auto market to stabilize, right? Because then you can get to FSD, then you can start testing robotaxis, right? Like you could easily get there. And then on the whole other hand, Optimus, right? If they started showing Optimus doing stuff in the factories at normal speed, right? It just depends, right? I mean, what he's saying is so high level and putting such a big blanket. There's so much nuance and there's so many different, Christmas trees arguments that you can make from there. So, the more that you start to talk about, the more the aperture opens of different possibilities to which the market and the street could give credit for AI with Tesla. So it's a nice soundbite, but I think it's more nuanced than that.
Okay, what about the rest of it? So I think all of us are kind of a little nervous, and I say nervous with quotes around it, about the first quarter number. But the full year number, I'm not nervous at all. I'm hard pressed to see. I mean, the number for the street right now is 2.1 million. I don't see how they can't. It's unimaginable to me that they don't hit above 2.1 million for the year. Fremont and Shanghai should be running full out, regardless of the economy. I don't see any way they don't. And you don't take much of an increase, a small increase from Berlin and Austin, and you're at 2.1.
Tesla will sell every vehicle that they can make, even if that means going to 0% margin. Elon told us this in 2022. Nobody liked what he was saying. Everybody thought, oh, why would he say such a thing? It's not going to happen. They will continue to sell every vehicle they can, no matter what. They're not going to slow down their production the same way they didn't slow down buying up chips when everybody else did. They didn't slow down because they have a mission, and that mission tends to be what is giving them the ability and the advantage against everyone else, right? The more they lower prices, listen, people like Gary Black, Ross Gerber, they can say all they want. At the end of the day, you can't say it's not working because people are dropping out left and right. People are giving up. People are slowing down. And the argument of, well, we haven't seen Tesla sales increase, the fact that they are where they're at and they're holding steady is everything. Like, you're not taking into account for that. With that argument, that's like me saying, well, FSD has never saved a life because I can't account for the lives that it didn't, that the people that didn't die. Like, I can't quantify that. You're right. I can't. But the point is that we have these sales still. So yeah. So anyways, I think they'll sell everything no matter what. If it means prices come down, then prices are going to come down. I think we're at a point, at a stage with Tesla that deliveries are irrelevant at this point. We have gotten to the stage where it's all about the next gen vehicle, and it's really not about the 25,000 car, in my opinion. It is about the Robotaxi. It is about FSD. It is about Optimus. Right now, the auto business, all that is just funding the real company that we're invested in. That's where we're at now.
Yeah, of course, the price of the stock could be impacted. He's right.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to 100, but what do I know? I don't even think it gets back to 150, but what do I know? I've been wrong a couple of times. I don't know, even recently. Boy, was I wrong on Monday this week. All right. I threw out an idea earlier, actually yesterday when I was talking to Larry. It just hit me while Larry and I were talking, and I'm just curious to get your take on it. I think that maybe the Model Y is being Osborned by both the Model 3 Plus, for those who don't care that much whether they get an SUV or they get a little sportier car, and it's being Osborned a little bit maybe by the Cybertruck, because the same person that's interested in a larger car might be saying, no, you know what? I want that Cybertruck now. It's got all that cool stuff on it. So what do you think about the Osborne potential maybe slowing down the Austin rollout right now?
Um, I hear you. I don't know if I would subscribe to that opinion. I mean, what do you guys drive? What's your wife have? A 3 or Y?
A Model Y, and we just got
Okay.
our letter, we just got our email saying that our Cybertruck is available to get. Although at 120,000, I think we'll be waiting until it comes down in price. But we were going to switch out. We're going to get rid of the Model Y and drive the Cybertruck.
Okay. So okay, got it. So I guess what I would say is driving the Model Y, I would not go to a Model 3, right? I got a Y for a reason. I wanted that size. I wanted to have the extra, trunk hatch space, whatever you want to call it. I really wanted that. It's bigger. I like it. We also have a Cybertruck on reservation. But I think I would never. If you want a Y, you want a Y for a reason, right? I don't think you're gonna trade down for the 3 just because there's an extra screen and some lights and aerated seats. Like, you go for a Y because you want the size, the volume. All right. Now, Cybertruck, I also don't see that because we're talking about a delta of over 100%, right? Like, I think you can get a Model Y right now for some, I don't know, high 30s, mid 40s. Cybertruck, to your point, is like 120, right?
Well,
So
I'm talking about people that are going to wait for the Cybertruck. They're going to wait till their number comes up later, like we are, and pick it up for 60 grand. That's only a year from now. So if you were planning, if your car is still running, you don't have to do anything now. You're like, why am I going to get a Y? I'm going to wait for the Cybertruck.
I think if you're that into the Cybertruck and you know what's going on, which most people still don't, you know how much of a backlog there is, for one. Two, Randy, we live in the United States of America. If there's one thing we are awful about, it's patience. If there's one thing we're amazing about, is buying, spending money, and instant gratification. I don't think anybody is truly holding off. I, People like us, Randy, we're cut from the same cloth. We have no problem saving and waiting and delaying gratification. I would not say that's the norm. So I don't know. I don't buy to that that idea, but it's a good one. I see it. I see where you could make the rationale for it. I'm not and I or were you or Larry the one that was putting out this idea?
It
Was it
was my
you?
idea. It was my idea.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. That's what we do here. We want to get it
What'd
all.
Larry say?
Larry, I don't even remember because I was really still thinking it through. You know, it was one of those
So
things.
memorable, Larry.
I'm sorry, Larry. Sorry, Larry. I think that Larry was like you, that he was, he didn't fully buy in. But anyway, I have this
Hey,
sense. I have this sense. People, I've waited for cars before. I had like you say, it's not all about instant gratification, but I was driving a really kind of cool sports car, but I wanted a Jaguar sedan, but I couldn't quite afford it. And I just drove that sedan until it was, I mean, the sports car until it was like dust. I mean, it was barely holding together with baling wire until I could afford that Jag. So, I think, I don't know. Anyway, it'd be interesting to see in the comments below what other people think. Are they waiting? Would they wait? What do they think there's an Osborne thing going on here? Because I'm shocked that the Model Y, even though it's the best-selling car in the world, I'm shocked that at these prices, the value proposition on that Model Y, that the Midwest hasn't started to gobble them up.
yeah, I will say where I could see your argument being extremely valid would be amongst existing Tesla owners.
Mhm.
That I could see, right? Not wanting to upgrade until, well, they're waiting on the Cybertruck, or they're waiting on a refresh Y, or they're waiting for the Model 3 Plus performance, right? That I could very well see. People who are already in the ecosystem.
Gotcha. Well, we had another note drop, and the other note that dropped was Canaccord Genuity. And Sawyer Merritt also pointed that out. And George I should learn how to pronounce these names before I start my show. Never mind. All right. Anyway, he says they took a tour of Giga Texas this week, and he shares this note. We were able to tour the bustling factory floor and test drive the Cybertruck and the refreshed Model 3. Speaking of both of those, incredible experiences for us and our guests. Thank you to the Tesla team for hosting us and putting on a great show. He also said, outside of marginal improvement, margins improvement, I think is what he means, as opposed to like a marginal improvement. Outside of margins improving are deteriorating in the near term, outlook will truly re-energize Tesla stock and clear the air are three drivers. Oh, what will clear the air will be three drivers. In our opinion, one, the next generation vehicle ramp, as you pointed out. Number two, margin improvement led by increased full self-driving adoption, to your point. And three, continued rapid growth in energy storage, which everybody's talking about. That's becoming a thing, I think. We see clarity on and confidence in the trajectory of these three growth drivers as the catalyst that will move Tesla from the current zigzag stock performance to recapturing its outperformance legs of old. But patience is required. What did you? He sounds like he's reading from your book.
A little bit. I'll tell you what. Yeah, I know I'm kind of deviating here. It's been a very interesting week because all of a sudden we're seeing more institutional buyers come into Tesla, picking it up, which is comical, right? As it goes down, what are they doing? They're buying, which is the smart thing to do. But narrative, all of a sudden, it's so funny to see how these narratives can just flip on a dime. All of a sudden, they're all talking about energy storage. All of
Yeah,
a sudden, that's a hot topic that they're choosing to go out and speak about openly. Could that be because all of a sudden they're also buying Tesla because now they're trying to get the broader story out there? So I find that very interesting. But But I would agree. Like again, I think we're at a point where S, X, 3, and Y are irrelevant. They're just funding mechanisms to continue the flywheel for FSD, for Optimus, for storage, battery storage, and essentially getting to the Robotaxi next gen vehicle. That's where everything is going to be. Tesla was never, in my opinion, going to become a $10 trillion company off of the S3, Y, and X. All right. The story hasn't changed. The mission hasn't changed. Nothing has changed. The only thing that has deviated really are investors and the economy. Rates are up. People are seeing the results of this on the economy. As a result, obviously, they're buying less big ticket items. So this puts pressure. Gone are the days of having a $50,000 Model Y be the main thing that people are buying from Tesla. So we are in, and Tesla said it perfectly in their last earnings. We're in the middle of two growth waves, and so look, expect flat, expect down, expect pain, expect noise, expect FUD, especially in this selection when Elon's being very open with his own opinions. Expect it. And beyond that, you're either an investor or you're not. You're either an investor or you're gambling. And in the short term, I think what we do here and what the Tesla community does is so important because you need to know what's going on with the company and the stock on a day-to-day basis so you stay informed, but it should not be messing with you emotionally with your investments. You either have a good thesis or you don't.
Right.
And I think people need to remember that. But you have people like Randy here to keep everyone grounded. So I think that's good.
By the way, he reiterated a buy rating and a 234 price target. So that would be substantially up from here, would certainly not be anywhere close to my price target. So
Yeah.
Sandy Monroe is really excited. He's got his Cybertruck and he's getting ready to dismantle it. And then he also got a Model 3 Plus. So he's got that to take on as well. And then Jordan from the Limiting Factor is excited because he thinks he might get a new 4680 cell out of this. So what do you think? Is that we're going to be seeing a lot of engineering videos coming out of Sandy Monroe for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah. So here's what I think. Put the stock to the side. Okay. Are you invested in a stock price or are you invested in a company in a leader, right? When I invest in Tesla, first of all, I'm invested in Elon Musk. But from there, I'm invested in his ability to formulate these amazing teams that can accomplish the impossible. And then from there, it's Tesla as a whole. And so the stock is just a byproduct of that, right? In the long term, right? We've heard Warren say this, Warren Buffett, right? Everyone knows this, voting machine, weighing machine, as far as the stock market, long term, short term. But today we had a video come out about 11 minutes of Bradford Ferguson with Rebellionaire. He put it out with a ride with James Dalma.
Right.
And they're essentially just going through James's back streets, and James was just talking about how this is a quantitative and qualitative level change of 12 versus 11. And he was talking about through it. You have to watch it because this is what matters for the stock at the end of the day, right? The stock's a reflection of what's going on. As long as, in my opinion, you see things like this and this progression and this level of engineering improvement, that's what matters. Now, long deviation to get back to what you're talking about. Sandy Monroe. Watching these videos when he does these breakdowns will be very telling. I'm going in neutral. I'm not expecting something amazing or revolutionary breakthroughs or, this to be a good, for all we know, Sandy's going to tear it apart. And there's going to be a lot of things that are kind of, ooh, well, they clearly did this just to get this, into production, right? There might be some of that. I don't know. But what I'm hoping to see are signs of, yep, that's the test I'm invested in. Yep, there's a revolutionary idea. Yep, oh, there's a whole new way of doing something. Or, oh, how'd they even do this? Oh, I wouldn't have even thought about this, right? I'm expecting that, right? I hope to get that, but I'm going into it neutral. But if I'm seeing those things from the breakdown of the Cybertruck, the Model 3, the reviews of someone like a James Dalma on FSD 12, Randy, I mean, that is where your thesis for your investing has to be based off of. And so I don't know. I'm very excited to see Sandy break these down. And Sandy, I think when he's had a couple beers, he's a little all over the place. But when he's not having some beers, Sandy, he's gonna say it like it is.
That's
Whether it's
right.
Ford, whether it's Tesla, he's not going to sugarcoat it. From a mechanical perspective, from a construction perspective, he, he's put his time in, and he's very respected, very valued, and everybody listens to him. You better believe Ford, GM, everyone's going to be buying a copy of his breakdown, his report.
Well, since you're mentioning Ford and General Motors, we could also talk about Stellantis. And it turns out that in the best part is no part department, Dodge unveiled the new Pure BEV charger today. It's going to have a motor noise and shake like a muscle car. Now, I want to know in the comments below, only from those who have owned a muscle car or still own a muscle car, is this hot or not? What do you
I'll
think?
answer that.
Okay.
As someone who grew up with a Challenger in the garage, my stepdad
Challenger,
owns.
a Challenger.
Yep,
Good man.
he
My
owns a
first car.
Demon, a Hellcat. Oh, okay, nice. I grew up. I was a Mustang guy. We grew up on cars, right? We have two Model Ts, so we're a car family, right? Like again, my stepdad has a Lambo. Like we love the purr of an engine,
Right.
but but not for an EV. It's just weird. It's just fake, right? Like the the reason you like the rumble is because it radiates through the car. Like you feel it, right? It's like becoming one with you. Like I know I sound corny here, but unless you're in there and you're, shifting the gears and you feel it, as you go from, fourth to fifth to sixth, having a downshift, right? Like and the rumble and like it's an experience of its own. But to have it synthetic, it's just weird. It's just weird, Randy. I maybe I sound too much like a purist, but I can't get behind that. I mean, I'm sure some people will love it. I'm sure there's a market out there for it, but it's not this guy.
So, for the last 3 years, we've had the Model Y and we've had my Volvo 300 horsepower, and I don't care. When I hit the gas or the electric pedal, the takeoff actually just a little bit better on the Volvo because we don't have the performance on the Model Y. But the takeoff is fun either way. Get going from 0 to 60 is fun. I don't need the noise. I don't need the motor. It just doesn't do anything for me, quite frankly.
Yeah, funny story. Funny you just mentioned that. My wife and I, we were out at a friend's. We were at a brewery with a friend. It was his birthday. We were celebrating, and we were driving back home. We use FSD everywhere, so FSD is driving us back by, and all of a sudden I see this guy and his wife or girlfriend, windows rolled down, and they zoom past us, weave in and out, get back into the lane to the left of us, like just really quick, and he's enjoying his car and all that. And all of a sudden, I take it out of FSD and I'm like speeding up to get closer and closer to him. And my wife all of a sudden says to me, "Why do I have the feeling that you're driving for fun and performance and not just driving right now?" I was like, "Because I am. Just sit back." And so, I get up, like just we're driving side to side and we're just driving right next to each other. All of a sudden, I floor it until we get to the next light and they have their windows rolled down. So I roll mine down. And I was like, I had to. I could not do it. And, they're laughing and they're like, "Yeah, we get it. We get it." So, but I don't know. All that just to say, like, it's just different
Yeah,
in a Tesla. And we have a performance Model Y, so it's when you
yeah.
got it, you got it. But what was cool? Sorry, the whole point of me telling you the story was because I was able to do that. And as soon as we are done, we're laughing with them. The light goes green. They take a left. We keep going straight. What do?
Back into
Doo-doo.
full.
Back in FSD, and I look at my wife. I'm like, they've got like a car that costs like 4 times what this costs, and they can't do this.
No, neither
And
one.
Neither one. Exactly. I was like, how incredible is that? True story. This literally just happened last week.
That's great. So switching over to the economy then, we've got Market Watch reporting that the Institute for Supply Management said on Tuesday that its service sector PMI, that is Purchasing Managers Index, fell to 52.6 from 53.4. The drop was bigger than expected. Economists polled by the Wall Street Journal had expected the ISM index only to inch lower to 53.1, but it dropped all the way to 52.6. Numbers over 50% indicate expansion. The non-manufacturing index, this is the service index, has been above 50 since December of 2022, so about 14 months. A separate gauge, the S&P Global U.S. Services PMI, posted 52.3 in its final reading in February. That's up from a flash reading of 51.3. The measure of new orders was actually good news. It was up to 56.1 from 55 in the prior period. So the Fed has been wanting to see a slowdown in services because we've got it solved on the product side. worse than solved. It's not good at all. But they've been looking for an opportunity to be able to say, okay, the services numbers are coming down too. So here's a little bit of a services number coming down, but the leading indicator on that would be orders, and that one is going up. Anyway, thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I was just trying to pull up right now when the next CPI meeting is. Do you
CPI,
happen to know off the top of your head?
CPI is
Or
this week.
excuse me, the next Fed meeting. Do you happen to know when
Okay,
that is?
that is the following week, not this week, but next week. I'm sorry,
Okay.
2 weeks.
Okay,
Two-
cool. That's what I was hoping for. So it'll be interesting because I agree with you. The Fed's been waiting. I mean, they're trying to find everything to say of why we need to see more data, we need more time, we need to see more continuation. Oh, we see stickiness here or there. And up to this point, they look like the smart ones, is what I would say, because we've had, pockets of, oh, look, are we reigniting? Oh, no, no, no. Okay. Oh, are we reigniting? No, 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 no. Right. We've seen that. It's a zigzag, doesn't go straight down. But I think what's going to be interesting is this next CPI should be really telling because we're in March now, so it'll show February. This should be post all the seasonality changes we saw in January. So I think this should be a better gauge. And I think we will see CPI at 2 point something. I think that's where we're going to be. So I think that'll be a big deal. And I think that will lead us to the Fed meeting where they can say, okay, we're going to pause here. We are thinking we're getting closer to be able to do rate cuts, and then we're going to see cuts start to happen either like maybe sometime in the summer is what I anticipate as of right now. But clearly, I mean, you look at truflation, you look at housing, people are just very squeezed right now, right? I mean, it's just apparent. It's extremely apparent. And it's got to alleviate at some point, right? There's only so much credit card debt people can get into. There's only so much, like they're making decisions, right? We're seeing it in Walmart, we're seeing it in Target, like we're hearing this from all these CEOs, but we haven't seen it trickled into the numbers yet. And my biggest fear is that when it does, it's going to do it hard. And this is why I keep saying to you that I think when they start to cut rates, it might be a small cut at first, but then it's going to be an aggressive because I think they're going to be like, oh, crap. We looked so smart and now we look stupid.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I mean, this is a good thing, potentially a bad thing too, though.
No. Target earnings report this morning. Target said, food is doing well. Their profits were actually up, but they're bigger, higher priced items not doing well. That's where they not doing so well. And I think tomorrow is Costco. That's the one I've been kind of waiting to see because I want to see what happens. Slightly more affluent buyer. Are they also seeing the same thing as Target is? Okay, so let's take a look at the after hours here. Tesla is up 28 cents. So it's not, it had been up more actually. It had been up like $1.50 in the after hours, and now it's up 28 cents. So I don't know what I have.
Oh,
I don't have a crystal ball right now.
Super Tuesdays today as well.
Oh, Super Tuesday. That's right. That's right. So people are out voting and being worried or concerned or happy. I don't know which. Yeah.
Yeah, I just say that because after tonight, we might know if Nikki Haley's going to drop out. Is it, going to be officially a Biden-Trump thing? And that could have short-term impacts on the market.
It could. I'm pretty sure people figure it's a Biden-Trump deal at this point. Although I don't know how Biden, anyway, we'll see what happens. I just can't figure out how this guy, I mean, okay, they're both old. They're both older than me, and I'm older than dirt. So it's kind of hard to, they're both older than Larry, and Larry's older than me. Anyway. Uh,
Leave Larry alone.
leave
No, I'm just
Larry alone. Anyway, and he's got a birthday this Friday. Or Saturday. We should,
Ooh,
I don't know what we should do for Larry.
should
Okay.
sing for him.
It's what?
You should sing a song for him. That should be your only episode that day. It's just you singing a cappella.
Acapella. We could pull it off. All right, let's see here. Let's take a look at the rest of everything. We have got the bonds. Just a second here. The bonds are up after being down in the regular session earlier today. They're up 2.3. That's the 10-year is up 2.3 basis points. And that is the story in that ballpark for the longs, and the short, the 2-month, is only up 0.007. So, but everything is up, meaning the bonds, of course, are trading lower in value. I keep thinking the bonds are going to tank. I mean, I'm sorry, the bonds are going to.
I get where, yeah.
That these rates are going to come down.
Rates are going to go down.
I guess they're waiting until next week, I think it's Monday or Tuesday when the CPI comes out.
Yeah, hey, the sooner they go down, the better. I would have no issue with refinancing.
There you go. You can refinance. That's right. Yeah. All right. We got oil flat. It is still sitting around $78. Doesn't seem to be much pressure in either direction. There was a day or two of pressure, but it's fallen back down again. Natural gas also flat. The dollar completely flat. Everything's flat. Well, gold's down a tiny bit, but gold went nuts today and yesterday. So holy mackerel, what's happening to gold? Why is gold going so crazy? Any ideas?
I mean, Bitcoin's going crazy.
Well, there's that. Well, Bitcoin though fell 3,600 today, 5.34%. So
After hitting all-time highs.
after hitting like 68 or something, now it's 64. So, but gold only backed off a teeny tiny bit. Of course, it also hadn't been quite so crazy, but it was all-time high. It's at all-time highs right now. I don't know what the allure of gold is. I've been looking around to see if anybody can tell me, but I'm not finding anybody that's got something that sounds like a solid reason.
Yeah, I mean, probably again, just all the risks that we have right now with our debt. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know if it's just the political air, but I feel like I've never seen so many people come out caring about our debt situation, our finances. And I mean, I don't think it's too late, but it's refreshing, and I just hope that we actually start to take it seriously. But I really think that's part of it. I mean, we see what's happening with India. And, well, anyways, we don't have to get into politics.
All right. And on the equities, I can tell you that the Dow and the S&P are also flat, and the NASDAQ is barely, it's up 30 points right now, or 0.17%. So not a tremendous move either, but the other two are. So people are not moving around very much in the pre-market this evening. So we got the big thing this week, of course, coming up Friday, which is the jobs numbers. As the other thing that you were talking about a minute ago in terms of the CPI being weird, the jobs number was even weirder. I'm they've corrected every single time by big amounts. I'm expecting a massive correction to the January number. If I'm right, what does that do to the market on Friday?
No, it won't do anything, right? You're probably going to see the same thing. You're probably going to see a revision that gets, hidden behind a big jobs beat again. There's if they don't start to do something about this, and if they don't change, or if we see yet another huge beat, I'm really going to start to think, like, I try to avoid this. I really don't want this to be political, but if it's another huge major beat, I'm going to start to think it really is political, right? I mean, I probably should have thought this a while ago, but it just seems so staged. Like, clearly these are not accurate numbers, and we keep reporting them as if they are to get the headlines. And then for what? So that, the president and his staff can come out and say, "Look how amazing we just did." But they never mention about the revision. Like, it's insane.
It is insane. And you keep repeating it. That's the definition, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And there's no nuance, right? They don't talk about, well, what are the jobs? What are the quality of the jobs? Are these people taking second jobs? How many of these are government related jobs, right? Like, it's
Right. Yeah. 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 No, it's definitely been way nuanced. And also, as we both point out, the changes, the dramatic changes in the revisions. Okay. That's all we got right now. We've got Tesla. I'm hard pressed to guess this week. I'm afraid to even go out on a limb and suggest a direction with the way things are going right now. But and apparently the two notes that dropped had no effect really on the stock either. So we'll see what happens the rest of the week. And as always, Nicholas, it's great to have you on board. I hope people will follow you on Twitter, or what is that thing called now? X.com.
X.
And yeah, and all good. And to all of you out there, it's been great talking to you.